What's up and welcome back everybody. In today's episode, we're going to be highlighting the world's most venomous snake. But before we get to the world's most venomous snake, we're going to cover a few others. The first venomous snake we have today is the black mamba. Now this right here is a small black mamba. He's probably about a year old. He's a little juvenile. Now for those of you who don't know, black mambas are native to Africa. And contrary to people thinking that they're black, their skin is actually light gray to dark brown. Now, the reason they get the name black mambas is from the inside of their mouth. When they feel threatened, they'll actually open up their mouth and it is pitch black inside of their mouths. Also, when these guys feel threatened, they'll actually widen out their hood and they look like a cobra. Another thing they'll do is open their mouth and they'll actually stand straight up. So a black mamba can stand anywhere from 6 to 8 feet up. I've heard stories of people on horses. Black mambas get spooked and literally look a horse up in the eyes. So this little guy is probably top 20 venomous snakes in the world. A super venomous snake. This right here has a neurotoxin. So the type of neurotoxin a black mamba has is called an alpha neurotoxin. Now, another one of the venomous snakes we're going to highlight today has what's called a beta neurotoxin. So it's going to affect the nerves in your body, and it's basically not going to let your brain communicate with your muscles, leading to paralysis and eventually death. Now, this little guy right here isn't the world's most venomous snake, but he is the world's fastest venomous snake. So black mambas on a flat surface can go anywhere from 10 to 12 miles an hour. That's pretty darn crazy. Now, to put that into perspective, that is faster than a Komodo dragon. So if a Komodo dragon and a black mamba are heading in the same path as fast as they can go, a black mamba will win every single day. Now these guys, compared to their cousins, the green mamba, they don't spend as much time in the trees. So a black mamba is actually going to spend the majority of his time off the trees, on the floor, hanging out in little rock crevices through the sub-Saharan parts of Africa. Now this right here is a little guy, but black mambas get huge. Black mambas are actually the second largest venomous snake in the world, with the king cobra being the largest. Now, black mambas have reported to get to lengths from 12 to 14 feet. I mean, how crazy is that? Can you imagine a 14-foot black mamba rearing up, opening up his black mouth, and then biting you right in the chest? Now, black mambas have and will kill humans every single year. Now, if you get anti-venom within a short amount of time, you'll probably be okay. But without anti-venom, there's almost a 100% kill rate. Now, even a black mamba this size could put you down. He's probably got a couple drops of venom inside his venom glands, but an adult black mamba has up to 20 drops of venom inside their venom glands. But this is definitely a snake we want to highlight on this video. So we're going to put this guy back in his tank and we're going to jump to a more venomous snake, the Collets snake. See if we can get this guy quick. And this is a Honduran milk snake. Not a venomous snake, but a super beautiful non-venomous snake. I mean, look at the colors. Kind of like the Collets snake. Red and black, but just much more colors. All right, guys, this right here is the Collets snake. Not a snake you want to take a bite by. So the Collets snake falls within the top 14 most venomous snakes in the world. So this guy is not from Africa. This is actually from the heartland of Queensland, Australia. So these guys are in the same family as the king brown, the red-bellied black snake, and the Papuan black snake. Now, the coolest thing about the Collets snakes is their colors. Now, a lot of snakes from Australia are kind of bland if you're talking inland Taipan and brown snake, but the Collets snake is a beautiful snake. I mean, look at the belly. The belly almost has more colors than the top side of the snake. Now, these are a long, skinny, fast snake. A lot of the snakes in Australia are long and skinny. Now, they're not going to rely on constricting to kill their prey, and they're not going to rely on strength to grab and hold their prey. Now, that's the reason snakes from Australia are so potent when it comes to venom, because these guys aren't relying on constricting. They have to rely on their venom to immobilize their prey. That way it won't escape. Another sweet thing about the Collets snake is they're also snake eaters. So these guys in the wild are going to be eating all different kinds of venomous snakes. Now the Collets snake, like I said, is in the top 14 most venomous snakes in the world. Now the reason I give it a general range and not just number 14, number 20, because it all depends on numerous factors when determining how venomous a snake is. You're talking toxicity, you're talking load of venom, the amount of venom the snake produces. So a king cobra could be less toxic, but they have much more venom. But a Collets snake isn't a small snake. They can get up to 7 feet long, so they can dump a huge amount of venom into your skin if bitten. And if you're bit by a Collets snake, it's kind of like getting COVID. If you live and if you recover, you could lose your sense of smell for the rest of your life. These guys will actually only come out underneath the earth for a brief time in the morning in between the freezing cold nights and the scorching hot days. Guys, moving up the list quickly, this right here is number 7 most toxic venomous snake in the world. This right here is Australian death adder. Not only is this one of the most toxic venomous snakes in the entire world, this is the fastest striking venomous snake in the entire world. So these guys, when they strike, if you blink, you'll miss it. Now this guy right here is a little juvenile. These guys will get anywhere from 3 to 4 feet. They're found in Australia and they're also found in Indonesia. Now they call it the death adder, but it's actually not an adder and it's not a viper. This guy is in the same family as cobras and black mambas. So this guy right here is more closely related to a black mamba than he is a viper. And if you look at the tail on this snake, you can see his tail goes from striped to almost a faded out pale. So this snake is known for using that tail for what we call coddling. So coddling is when they sit there, they shake the tip of their tail and they actually move it side to side like a worm. When an animal comes in to bite the tip of their tail, that's when the snake will turn around and bite the animal. So the reason these guys are so toxic is because these aren't the fastest snakes. You can see they're super heavy bodied. They're not gonna go and chase their snake or corner it in a crack or crevice. These guys, when they bite, they need their prey to be immobilized fast. And that's why the death adder is such a toxic venomous snake. Okay guys, now jumping up the list, this is the 3rd most venomous snake in the entire world. So drop for drop, this snake is more toxic than a black mamba, is more toxic than a king cobra, a monocled cobra, probably all of those things put together. Now this snake is not just a toxic venomous snake, it is a super hard venomous snake to handle. So they're super wiry, they like to jump around, they like to whip their tails. That's why I'm being so gentle with this venomous snake. If I'm super fast and jerky, this snake is just gonna go psycho on me. So this right here is the coastal taipan. Now, a good way to tell the difference between the inland taipan and the coastal taipan is their heads. So if you look at this guy's head, it is a super light gray. Now, just like their name says, these guys are from the coast of Australia. So when researchers make antivenom, what they do is they'll inject venom into a horse. That horse will build antibodies and they'll actually bottle up those antibodies, and that right there is antivenom. So a fun fact about this snake is it's actually less toxic than the inland taipan. So this is what they use for making antivenom, because the inland taipan is so toxic when it comes to venom. They actually tried diluting the venom, injecting horses with it, and the inland taipan's venom was so strong it would actually kill the horses. So what they do is they'll use the coastal taipan's venom for making antivenom, and that is actually how they'll treat the other species, the inland taipans. Even if you survive a coastal taipan bite, you could be left with serious side effects. Now, another cool fun fact about this snake is back in the day, the farmers would actually find them in the cane fields, and when they would get bit, they would actually drop dead like flies. That's why this snake was actually named Killer of the Cane Field, because they killed so many farmers in the cane fields, and that shows you just how toxic this snake is. Now, without antivenom, the chances of surviving a snake bite like this is slim to none. All right, let's drop this guy back in his enclosure. You can see I was so slow and methodical when it came to handling this snake. If I was hooking him like this, he would just start freaking out and jumping off the table. So a snake like this, you have to respect it and you have to move super slow, but also fast when he moves. All right, guys, now if you couldn't tell, we're not in my snake room. We're actually at my good buddy Chandler. So huge shout out to Chandler from Chandler's Wildlife for allowing us to use some of the most venomous snakes in the entire world to make this awesome video. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a super long time. Honestly, mainly because I just like handling these snakes. Whenever I get a chance to handle a new super venomous snake, I take it. So I hit up Chandler. I said, hey, I want to make a video about the world's most venomous snake. He said, come on over, I'll film it for you. Now, right now, we're handling the world's most venomous snake. But if you guys want to see the world's longest venomous snake, go ahead, check out Chandler's channel. You can see him and his big king cobra, Tony. Chandler actually did an awesome video today. This is the most venomous snake in the world. It really just scares me to even tail this snake. So we're gonna try to grab her. And I remember this inland taipan when it was just a little baby. Chandler got this guy when it was a hatchling and has grown it to probably a 4+ foot snake right now. And look at that. The inland taipan, the world's most venomous snake. Man, this is insane. Now, I'd say this guy is a little bit less flighty than that coastal taipan we just took out. Now, contrary to belief, this snake actually hasn't killed a single person. Now, even though it's the most venomous snake in the world, there is no deaths from an inland taipan. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is that? That's because this snake, the parts of Australia it's found, are so secluded, are so remote, that there's almost nobody finding these snakes. They're just too rare. Human contact isn't very common with the inland taipan. Come across this snake in the city is probably never going to happen. Even coming across this snake in the wild is probably not ever going to happen for most Australians. To find this snake, you have to look for it. Now, these guys, you'll actually find them most of the time in dried up floodplains. Now, a thing this snake will do is actually chase its prey into a crack or a rock crevice, then strike. So these guys, they're from a super remote, super dry, super desolate area in Australia. Now, sometimes they may only have a meal come by once a month. Now, that's the reason these snakes' venom has to be so potent, because when this snake gets that opportunity, he can't miss grabbing his prey. You heard me talking about beta toxins and alpha toxins. So the black mamba has alpha toxins, the coastal taipan has beta toxins, the inland taipan has both. It has long-acting neurotoxins, it has short-acting neurotoxins, and it actually has hemotoxic venom as well. So a lot of the prey that's bitten by this snake, and a lot of humans, if they get bit, they can bleed out. Now, when it comes to taipans, there's actually 3 different kinds of taipans. There's the desert taipan, there's the coastal taipan, there's the inland taipan, and that last locality of taipans is actually found in Papua New Guinea, and it's called the PNG taipan. Technically, it's the same, but they look a lot different. Now, if you guys look at this taipan right now, she actually has her summer colors. So these snakes will actually change color seasonally. So in the summer, they're gonna be a much lighter color, a more pale yellow, and in the winter, they're gonna be much more darker. Now, the reason for that is in the winter, it's colder. So a darker color attracts more light and keeps them hotter. So these guys are gonna be dark in the winter and light in the summer to actually repel heat. Now, this is only a juvenile. This guy is probably pushing 4 feet, but these guys will get up to 7 feet long, which shows you that their venom yield is actually pretty darn big. So even being the most venomous snake in the world, they actually have a huge venom yield when they become adults. Now, there's a really cool story back in the day. When 9/11 occurred, the only plane allowed to fly was a plane grabbing anti-venom for a man bitten by a taipan. And that right there, guys, is the inland taipan, the world's most venomous snake. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, the most important part, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, all right.
Woo!